Okay, so let's debunk the myth that you need someone or a group of someone to have fun. Life doesn't have to be boring when you're alone. And yes, it's always nice to share these moments with friends, family, loved one. Well, most of the time. But we're not here to talk about what to do with others. We're here to talk about what you could do and enjoy by yourself. So this is the list of things that I generally do by myself. Your list doesn't have to be the same because we might not love the same things and we might have a very different vision of fun. So I'm just giving you my list, and if you want to share your list in the comments, please share it. Hi, I'm Mylene, I'm 37, I'm French, and I have lived by myself forever. Welcome to my channel. Here I'm sharing with you the behind the scenes of my solo life, the good, the bad, the ugly of my life choices, but mostly the good ones because I do love living by myself. So let's start with these 10 activities that I do when being alone. Oh, just before we start, I have one reminder that your safety comes first. I've never encountered any trouble while being outside or even at home, but that doesn't mean that I do things recklessly. And I'm sorry to say, even in 2026, please be careful and take care of yourself. Now let's start this list. First, visiting castles and museums. As a French, I do have the luxury to live in a country when you can find history at every corner. Yes, I live near Paris, but you don't have to go to Paris to enjoy history. And yes, I do enjoy history, and I do enjoy visiting castles and historical places whenever I can. As for museums, it depends what kind of museums, but once again, in France, you can find museums on any topic and any size. So museums and castles are usually quiet places. So as an introvert, that's perfect. You can enjoy it by yourself or with a guided visit with a guide, a human one. Yes, they do still exist. Or with an audio guide, which is pretty cool too, because you don't have to follow the group. You can skip some parts if you want to, or you can stay a bit longer. So yeah, these are the kind of places that I hang out. 2, going to cafes and restaurants. Yeah, I'm a French living in France, so food is obviously on the list. And I do love going to cafes and restaurants. I have my favorite places in Paris, but I also enjoy trying new places. And yes, I go alone. Do people judge me or give me a side eye because they think that, oh, it's pretty sad she doesn't have anyone to go to the restaurant or the cafe? Yeah, probably. But you know what? I don't care. Because when I go to a restaurant by myself, it's because I do want to go by myself. If I want to go with my friends, I just ask them and we just plan a date together. You might think, yeah, but there's no one to talk to, or you must be so bored. Well, have you ever been to a restaurant with someone glued to their phone most of the time? This is when I get bored. No, when I go by myself to a restaurant, I always take with me a book or a notebook so I can work. My iPad, my MacBook, or my phone. I mean, I always have my phone with me, but I always take something to do when I go to a restaurant or cafe. So then I don't get bored while waiting for my dishes. And no, I don't do that when I go out with my friends. Usually my phone is in my bag and I just enjoy my time with my friends talking about anything and everything. For example, so here's a little story. If you don't want to listen to the story, you can skip to the next chapter. I was in Laos last month. I was actually traveling with my sisters, but we had different place to stay. I was staying at one hotel and they were in another one. And this hotel was related to two restaurants, one a Lao traditional restaurant and another was a French one. And because I was eating Lao food for quite a while, I wanted to try the French one and also to see if they were able to, not that I was expecting the food not to be good, just I was curious. What was a French restaurant in Laos? I was actually in Luang Prabang. If you ever want to go there, might not be the expert of it, but I can give you some address and especially the address of the hotel if you want, because that was a perfect service. It was so great. It was so great. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay a bit longer. But I had to leave. We had other things to do. So I was going to this French restaurant, which was like 2 minutes away from the hotel by foot. And because it was at the low season, so there was not a lot of tourists there. And the restaurant was definitely too expensive for the locals. I was the only one in the restaurant. Like, I had the whole restaurant and the whole staff just for me. And yes, I took, I think it was a notebook with me, or at least I had my phone to write down things, but I think I had a notebook. So I was the VIP of the restaurant, except that the VVIP was the cat sleeping next to me on the bench. But it was so quiet. The food was very good. The experience was very good. The staff was just perfect. So I really enjoyed my time, even though I was the only one in the restaurant. Number 3, hiking. I did a lot of hiking by myself when I was in New Zealand and South Korea. And some trails are very crowded, so you never feel alone or unsafe. Some of them, you really feel alone in the middle of the nature. So be prepared. I'm not going to give you all the things to think about when going hiking by yourself in this video. I'll put that in the traveling solo video. But regarding the safety, at least because there's a long list of things that you should think about while going hiking by yourself. Having your phone fully charged with batteries is great. Having a spare phone that you keep off just in case your actual phone dies, so you have another one fully charged to use in case of emergency. But sometimes you have your phone but you have no GPS and no signal. That's why you need, what do they call that? Like the personal locator beacon that you can use in emergencies if you don't have your phone or no signal or nothing. And another thing that is very important is when you go hiking, always tell someone, even if this someone is on the other side of the planet, just let someone know where you're going and what path you're taking, just in case. I have twisted my ankles twice while being abroad. Luckily, it was never during a big hike, but just in case, you just need a twisted ankle to not be able to come back right on time or safely. I'm just saying. Now that I'm done with the safety about hiking, let's talk about the fun. Okay? So you need to know that my body is not made for exercising. No, the truth is I do not exercise enough, but I do love hiking. Plus, I have bad blood circulation, water retention, asthma, heavy legs. I know I shouldn't go hiking at that point. I should go straight to a retirement home because I might be 37, but my body feels like it's 80 something. Anyways, when you go by yourself, when you go hiking by yourself, the good thing is that you can go at your own pace. If you want to go very slow, you go very slow. If you want to stop, you stop whenever you want. No one is waiting for you. The only thing is just make sure that you come back before it's dark if you're supposed to do the hike during the day. But that's pretty enjoyable when you're very slow hiker like I am. Let's talk about number 4, traveling, obviously. So yeah, traveling is one of my favorite activities. Even though I know it might be the most impressive one and the scariest one, but you don't have to start with a 7-month trip to New Zealand the very first time. I did many other short trips before that. I started with Europe at first for a couple of weeks, then a year. I did the same for Asia, except that I didn't live there. I was just visiting every single time I was going there. So it was just like 2 or 3 weeks there. And then you slowly see how wonderful it is. You also meet new people along the way. You spend time with them, do some activities before moving on to the next destination. Obviously, traveling alone is not without risk. I've talked about that earlier, but that should not stop you either. You need to be careful, especially traveling alone as a woman. Be careful. I just want you to know that I don't want you to think that I want to romanticize traveling by yourself. There are risks, but at the end, it's an amazing experience. Number 5, reading. Reading is usually an activity you do alone anyways, but I love to take a book with me to a cafe. We talked about that, to a park, the beach. And you don't have to read a 900-page fantasy novel. Okay, I do love them, but you can read whatever you want. It could be big books, novels, or how to improve your mental health, or about finance. It could be history, romance, thriller, whatever you want. It could be graphic novels, mangas, comics, even newspaper. They still do exist too. So yeah, whatever you want. It's fine. And yeah, I know that reading is not for everyone. Don't worry. I have an activity for you if you like it. What about coloring? So you take your coloring books, you take your whatever you want to color with you. Yeah, you go to the park, the cafe, wherever you want to go, and just sit there and just enjoy your time. I've also seen people knitting or crocheting. I'm terrible at both. I've tried, but definitely not for me. Yeah, why not? Why not? And don't let people judge you for because you're knitting like your grandma. At least I know how to knit, right? Because, I mean, you know how to knit because I don't. Writing or journaling. This one is not for everyone either. I do write when I have time, which is not really the case lately. So my characters are judging me very hard because I let them in not so cool situations. But you don't need to be an author to write. You can write about your day, about your feelings, to your path of future self, to a friend you haven't seen for a very long time, about your goals that you want to achieve, or maybe you want to write about your very first trip by yourself that you nailed. And it's okay if you don't know how to write or make mistakes. If no one is supposed to read it, it doesn't matter. I mean, people are supposed to read my books at some point. I know that I make mistakes, even though I write them in French, not in English. I wish my English was good enough, but no, I'll need a translator for that. But I also know that my French is not perfect. But you know what? Professionals exist for this. So I'm just writing. I'm trying to be very careful. I know that someone will correct my mistakes anyway, so I just write. The next one is sewing. So I can see that I'm getting more and more specific. One thing that you need to know about me is that I am a fantasy gown designer and haute couture embroiderer, but I just don't work in the industry anymore. But I still love it. I've been doing it for more than 20 years now, and I still do it for myself for side projects that are yet to be revealed. So if you stay long enough, maybe you'll see them. So yeah, I know that I'm cheating here because it's more than just a hobby. Yes, it is a passion of mine, but I have studied fashion design and hand embroidery a very, very, very long time ago, like more than 20 years ago. But don't worry, you don't need to be a professional to start any crafty activities. If you want, just give it a try. And if you fail, that's okay. That's the learning curve, okay? So keep trying and improve your skill. And if you practice any crafty activity, DIY, or anything, just let me know in the comment. I'm so curious about that. Number 8, puzzles. So whether they are actual puzzles or mind puzzles, is that how you call that? I can spend hours on them. So for the actual puzzles with the pieces that you put together, it was actually my mom. She did that a lot when I was younger, mostly paintings of Renoir. So we had these puzzles hanged on the walls at home, and I really loved doing that. As for the mind puzzles, yeah, it's just my brain. Yeah. Nothing more. I love solving problems. So yeah, I love puzzles. Number 9, it's drawing. So I've been drawing since I can't really remember when. And because of my studies and hours of art class, I did draw a lot. So you might expect me to be very good at drawing, which is not the case. The only thing I can draw is fantasy gowns. Obviously, it's catching all my ideas. I'm terrible when it's about coloring or rendering. Don't ask me to do that. I'm pretty sure that a 10-year-old can do better than me. But I know I can still learn. Once again, I do not have time, but at some point I might learn. And number 10, if I'm not wrong, it's number 10, swimming. So you might have understood that I'm not very good at sport. I don't really like sports, except for swimming. I'm not very good at swimming either. It's just I enjoy swimming. For a time, I was going to the swimming pool 3 times a week because I really enjoy that. I don't have time anymore. I don't know how many times you will hear me saying that I don't have time anymore to do all the things that I want to do. But yeah, I don't have time. And the other sport that I enjoy doing, but this one is a bit harder when you're by yourself, it's rock climbing, because I enjoy climbing the high walls where you need the harness and someone to make sure you don't fall, rather than the blocks, so the smaller walls when you don't need the harness, because just in case you fall you might hurt yourself, but it's not that high. So here's my list of 10 things that I enjoy doing by myself. As you can see, there's no cooking or baking in this list because I don't like cooking or baking, but that's something that I want to change, and I talk about that in my bucket list video if you want to go check out this video. As well as gardening. I do not have a green thumb. Is that how you say it in English too? And it's not in my bucket list because I don't know if I want to improve that at some point. Because, okay, cooking and baking is all about food. I enjoy food, so I'm just like, yeah, I can make very delicious dishes and I can enjoy them. But even though I love nature, I love flowers and all this kind of stuff, I'm thinking that might not be one of my priorities to know how to garden. So as you can see, living alone doesn't mean being lonely or being bored. I know that it's not always easy to find the right people to hang out with. So don't get me wrong, I do have friends. I don't have many friends because I'm very picky and had kind of bad experiences in the past. So I'd rather have very close and very few friends than too many, and go through bad breakups too in friendships. So yeah, I might not be the expert in finding friends, having friends or anything, but just in case you want me to make a video about friendship when you live alone, because that's something that could be a bit heavy, just let me know in the comment and I'll work on that very soon. But don't forget that even if you want to enjoy some time with your friends, that spending your time with yourself is also very rewarding, because you are the only person you're gonna live with until the end of your days. It's better to be comfortable with yourself, and we can talk about that in another video because I have so many ideas video. But whether it's about friendship or love relationship, I do think that being comfortable with yourself first made it easier in any kind of relationship afterwards. But that's another topic, so we're not going to talk about that right now. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments or follow this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.